If there's a particular section you want to jump to, either hover your mouse over the progress bar and find the section you want, or open the description, scroll down to the chapter list and click the link.
So, a little talk on Lightroom. I think it's a very powerful product. I've been actually using Lightroom, it turns out, since 2007. When it first arrived,
Yeah.
it was called Photoshop Lightroom.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and throw in some tips as I go along. On the screen that you're seeing, that one, if I press F on my keyboard, I just get rid of absolutely everything.
Oh.
So that's the first one that you can get. Press F and it goes to full screen. And it's great for just getting rid of the clutter. So you can just look at whatever image you're wanting to look at. The first thing is when you talk to people about Lightroom and Photoshop, the first thing you tend to get is, I use Photoshop. Why do I need Lightroom? So the textbook answer is Photoshop is used to edit single images, whereas Lightroom is used to edit multiple images. Within Photoshop, you've got your camera raw, and within Lightroom, you've got your develop module, and they do very similar jobs, but they go beyond that. I'm going to take you back to the full screen again now. So in Lightroom, you've got 4 different products that all integrate together. The Lightroom Classic is the desktop version. Lightroom is the cloud version. Lightroom Mobile works on your iPad and your iPhone, and I think they're on Android as well, but certainly iPhone. And then you have Lightroom Web, which is completely different again. Here's a shot I did earlier. Judy might recognize somebody because the subject of there is my nephew Robert, from 1 day old to, I'm not quite sure, but he's made me feel very old this year, and his mother. So the same pictures can be on your desktop version, they can be on the cloud version, the iPhone version, and the iPad version. So what do we need? Why do we use one and not the other? Lightroom is a lot easier to call it Lightroom Cloud because it kind of makes sense if you say Lightroom Cloud as opposed to Lightroom Desktop. But Lightroom, you have a seamless cloud-based workflow. Your photos are automatically synced and backed up to the cloud, allowing you access from any device, which means if you upload your pictures to the cloud version, they're automatically on your iPad and on your iPhone. And they can also be on your desktop. If you need to edit on the go, the desktop, mobile and web integration makes it perfect for editing photos on your laptop, your tablet or your phone on the go, which means that you can use the various apps that come with your cameras, load them onto your phone, pop them onto the mobile Lightroom. You can tweak something straight away and it then goes back to your desktop version. The cloud version is using some AI features, which are the ones that we're okay with. Because as a club, we've had this thing about AI, but AI, if it's your own pictures, AI is okay. If it's somebody else's picture, AI is not okay. So on this one, AI is okay while it's helping you get to where you want to be. You can use the AI to tag your pictures. So for some clever way, if you put a picture of an elephant onto the cloud-based version, and then you ask it in the search bar for pictures of elephants, it finds them. It's really, really cool. If you want to collaborate with others, you can share albums, and I'll show you how to do all of these things in a moment, hopefully. But if you put pictures into one of the albums on the cloud-based version, you can send people a link. So in my case, it could be customers. In our case, It could be sharing with our friends in the club or family. The classic version, which is your desktop version, when you need more extensive local control. So your photos remain on your hard disks, whereas on the ordinary light version, your photos are on a cloud somewhere, wherever that cloud is. But on the classic version, your photos remain on your hard drives, and nothing you do takes them away from that. So you have full control over the organization. If you have a large volume of photos, then culling them and editing a high number of images is the right way, Frank. If you prefer the desktop power because you've got powerful computers, then the tools are all based on the desktop version. If you need Photoshop integration, you can send a picture from your Lightroom Classic into Photoshop, do some tweaking in Photoshop, and then bring it back again. Your Lightroom Classic, and I'm going to go on to it in a minute, it consists of several modules. So the desktop version, the classic version, is module based. So you've got a library, you've got collections. Now this is collections on a desktop is the same as albums on a cloud. And gets confusing to everybody. I've got it in an album, but why haven't I got it in a collection? It's just they were designed by different people, and the folks who started off the desktop version decided to call them collections, whereas the team that started doing the cloud-based version decided to call them albums. You've also got a map module, so you can get the GPS coordinates. If you use an iPhone or a Android phone that has GPS on it, and you take pictures on those phones, it will have the GPS coordinates, and within the Lightroom Classic, it will put your pictures onto a Google map. I'll show you how to put your other pictures that weren't taken on the iPhones onto that map as well, I hope. You've also got a book module, you've got a slideshow, you've got a print, and you can also design web pages. The library module is the first of the choices. I'm just going to let you just look at that one, and then I'm going to open up the actual Lightroom so we can have a look. But we can copy and move and add pictures. We can rename them while we're importing them. We can apply keywords to them as we import them, and we can send them where we want them. We can quickly work on our images before while we're doing the culling. So we can flag them, star rate them, or color code them. We've got an auto advance, which is going to be one of my other top tips. We can quickly develop them. We can put keywords on them, and we can add them to keywords. So I'm going to come back into the actual Lightroom Classic, which is where we are now. So just running over what we've got. Where my mouse is now are the folders of my images. And I've got a horrendous number of images in there somewhere. I've forgotten what I've got. Rather a lot of them. My system of organizing is to put everything in date order. So this year, everything is in the month. So the last ones that were done were the pictures I did for today's show. We got October, not many in October, so September. So all the different days are all put into a folder, and this is my choice, putting them in date order. Previously, before I worked out that that was the best idea, I used to have them in folders, like down here. I've got one labeled travel, and I've got all the different countries that I went to. But I now know that down the bottom here, we've got something called collections. Collections is a way of organizing pictures, and you can have the same picture in different collections, in different folders. So it's like having two different albums, and you've got one album which is pictures for yourself, and one album which is pictures for Richard, because Richard loves Thailand, and I decided I'd give Richard some pictures as well. And I can have the same pictures in my book as I can in Richard's book. So that is what works down here. I can collect pictures from my date-based folders and put them all down the bottom here. So let's have a look in a family one. And here we've got, oh, right. Here's we've got a picture of my grandson, Joseph. All these different pictures of Joseph are likely to have him growing bigger. Hope he's going to grow bigger now I've said that. Let's try that one. Is he bigger? Yes, he's kind of bigger. But I've grabbed these out of all the different date folders. Does that make sense? So I've managed to put them all in the same place as opposed to in date folders. What else can we do with collections? I can collect together a series of pictures. In my case, this was the Bosworth Half Marathon. So I can collect together all the different pictures for my client into one place, even though I did the job over several days. On any of these pictures in the collections, if I want to know where they are in the library, all I got to do is right-click a picture and it says, where is it in the library? So I click into that one and it goes up there and tells me I took them in 2023 and I took rather a lot of them. 847, 728, 736. So where's my one down the bottom? That's lost me for the moment. Here we are. Once I've got my pictures in my Lightroom, I suppose, how do I get them there? While we're talking on the desktop version, I'll just keep on that one. So getting them into my Lightroom, I've got the word import. So I can go into import. Along the top, I can copy them off my desktop or off my camera card. I can move them off my camera card, or I can have them in a folder, leave them exactly where they are, and just add them into my Lightroom. I normally move them so that I know that they've all arrived. On this side, if I press the file handling one thing which makes a lot of sense to some people is I can click this button and I can make a second copy to a different hard drive, because my system is I'm going to be bringing these into one particular hard drive. But belt and braces say it's a good plan to put them in two different places. So rather than bringing them in on a hard drive and then having to duplicate that hard drive, I can do it straight away at the beginning. If for some reason I want to rename them straight away, I can do that as I bring them onto my computer. So it could be my camera gives them the camera name, but I might want them with a prefix for the bride and groom that I've just photographed. So I can do that within that bit. Apply during import means I can add keywords straight away, which means finding your pictures afterwards is so much easier. So if we were to type in there Bradgate Park, deer, rutting, and anything else which is relevant, I can type that in there and that will follow those images onto the computer and it will follow them for all of their lives so that you can then find them when you want them. And finally, where I want them to go. I put them in a folder called Paul's Images. I've got it set up to organize by the date, and I use the format of the year first, then the month, then the day. So once they've got onto my computer, if I've got an awful lot of them, I want to have a first cull. I want to know that the ones I'm keeping. I can label them with either keep or reject. I can also star rate them, and I can also color rate them. Stars and flags are on the cloud-based version, but the color labels aren't. Color labels are very powerful, but I'll tell you that in a moment. So possibly the easiest way of looking at all of these is bigger. So down here, we've got a little grid, which gives me a grid. I told you I like using keyboard shortcuts. So getting the grid is a G for grid. Getting the big version is an E for, I don't know what E is for, elephant. Enlargement. I've no idea what Adobe thought, but G just goes onto my grid. So I can now look through quickly and I can label them. Having the bits on the sides sometimes distracts because you want as many pictures showing as possible. I could use that first one I told you about, the F for full screen, but it doesn't keep the grid. It just goes on to full screen. So we have to find another version. So on your keypad, the tab button just takes the two side bars away. And if you press the tab, it comes back again. Once you've done that, you can actually star them or you can flag them. How do we know what keyboards to press on that one? If we go up to the top, we go to photo and go down, it says set flag. So the flag ones, if I press P on my keyboard, I flag them. If I press X on the keyboard, I reject them. And I only do unflagged when I've changed my mind. But this system means I could use two hands. My right hand is doing the P for pick and my left hand is doing the X for reject. Let's just try that one. I've no idea what this one's like, but we're going to go pick, X, pick. Now, something happened there, which probably won't happen on your computer until you do something, because every time I pressed a button, it moved forwards. So let's just pick again, and it's moved forwards. And that's called auto advance. So here's my next tip of the day. So we go up to the photo on the top, and we come down to a bit that says auto advance. If we press auto advance, it will auto advance onwards. If I take that one off, let's just find out what happens. I pick it and it doesn't move anywhere. So that's very slow. So if we've got all my 700 pictures or Frank's, however number of pictures Frank took, I've forgotten now, but we want to move on quickly. So auto advance is a good plan. So we can pick, cross, pick, and we can whiz through those. Now I'm just going to put the sidebars back on again, because up the top where my mouse is tells you that we're in the library module. And the library module is where you're storing your images. The develop module is very similar to Camera Raw on your Photoshop. So that's doing a lot of the major tweakings. Those are the two main ones that we're really interested in. The map module, if I go into the map module, you get a Google map. And I happen to know that these were taken in Market Bosworth. So if I type in Market Bosworth, find Market Bosworth, and it looks like I've already popped some on here, but let's pop 3 pictures into Market Bosworth. At the moment, down the edge, you can see there's no GPS coordinates. But if I pop them in Park Street, all of a sudden, I've got GPS coordinates for those images. Great way of finding where you took the pictures as long as you do the work to put them there. The book module allows you to create albums, and it's done with blurb books. So you can design a blurb book from within Lightroom. Slideshows, it's exactly what it says. You can create a slideshow and put some basic music on it. The print module allows you to collect pictures together to send them to print. So we could have a contact sheet and we could collect together all of those, and we've got a contact sheet. Underneath it tells you what your file name is, and you've told it that down on here. You've set everything up yourself. So you've got the cell spacing, which is the bit between those. You've got rulers at the top so you can work everything out. So that's the print module. And the last one is for those of you with a website, you can put your pictures into a web page. You can save it and upload it onto your actual website. So this is the cloud-based version of Lightroom. The bit that it's missing is that library that we've just gone through. It doesn't exist as a library. Up the top here, it says all photos, and these are all the photos that are in my library. The keyboard shortcuts are the same. So if I press E, it goes for the big view. If I press G, it goes for the grid view. Recent edits, people, dates, they're all in there to help you find. What I didn't do was send any pictures of elephants over here. I wonder if I got any elephants in here. Elephant. It's thinking about it. While it thinks about it, oh, I do. So I can search. I haven't put any keywords into this version, but I can search and it recognizes elephants, which is absolutely brilliant. But this bit of recognition doesn't stay with the photo, so it doesn't come back downwards onto your desktop. Down the side here, my two pictures, they were called collections a moment ago. Now they're called albums. They're the same thing. On the right hand side, I've got some controls very similar to your camera raw in Photoshop, or very similar to the develop module. So over this side, I've got all the exposure, the contrast, all the color buttons, everything is in here that is on the desktop, but there's a couple of things on the desktop which go above and beyond. So they're all over on the right hand side. If I make a correction to this one, let's do something major. Let's give it a purple tint and let's bump up the vibrance, and we'll go even worse, we'll bump up the saturation. So I've made corrections on the cloud. If I go back to my desktop when I've got home again, in a few moments, it's going to catch up with me when it comes back down again and change that one. But I'm going to keep on talking because it's going to have a think about that one. So what? I'll come back to that one when I see it's done. I mean, that one. Oh, look, my picture's arrived. That's now on my desktop.
Yep.
Took a while to get there, but it's on my desktop. Very pretty. Lightroom Web, you access via the internet, via anybody's computer. So if I wanted to get onto my Lightroom pictures and I was at Derek's house, I could ask to borrow his computer, log on to Adobe Cloud and log on to Lightroom via Adobe, and I can access everything that I put on the cloud. That is the 4th version, which it could be very useful at times. So here's a thought on the different versions. This is Classic on a laptop, on the mobile, or on the iPad.